What is the evidence that Harry and Meghan are really the biological parents of the two children? And what about that Oprah Winfrey interview with Harry and Meghan? This is the main content of today's news. Please watch the whole video. We got many interesting things to share. Seriously though, what proof is there that Harry and Meghan really are the biological parents of two children? Reportedly, and this is according to her own father, reportedly Meghan Markle had a hysterectomy years ago. But more to the point, folks, where on earth are these invisible children? I mean, we're looking for them everywhere and we can't find them. Do the children really exist? I mean, if they're real and everything's on the up and up, what is with the Vanishing Act? There's no proof of the existence of either Lilibet or Archie. So let's sift through the proof of the non-existence of both kids. In the 4th episode of their Netflix mocu-series, Harry explained that the two of them had to reveal Meghan Markle's pregnancy during their Australian tour in October of 2018 because they were no longer able to hide the bump. Now, supposedly, Archie was born on May 6th of 2019. You can also see the video on YouTube from October 13th of 2019 called, "What the hell is that popping noise as pregnant Meghan Markle stands up?" So many people, especially women who have had at least one pregnancy, have said that they all found crouching, squatting down like Meghan did at an advanced stage of pregnancy practically impossible, or in many cases actually impossible. Very strange behavior from a pregnant woman like Meghan. I mean, the bump would decrease, it would increase by 3 months in only 4 days. It would move from the abdomen all the way down to her knee level, and it would make a loud popping noise as Meghan Markle stood up from a squat. So in my opinion, there are 2 possibilities here. Number 1, it's a miracle baby. I don't think so, not coming from that awful witch. Or perhaps Meghan Markle is wearing a moon bump, much more likely if you ask me. So the following is from Live and Insanity on Tumblr, and this person says, "It's my opinion that the child we are being shown by the Sussexes as their son Archie is actually the son of cable news network correspondent Bryn Gringus. Albeit, this is my conclusion, I am mindful of the fact that Gavin is an innocent young child. My intention is not to speak about Archie or Gavin per se, it's only to share with others what I believe is the Sussexes' biggest lie of all." Ultimately, the royal family does need to come clean about this deception, especially considering that Archofficial is listed as 7th in line of succession to the throne. So there's an image that was published a few days before the Oprah interview, and it was on the Twitter account of Silver Tree, a close friend of Meghan Markle who worked with her on Suits. Supposedly, it was an image of Archie and Meghan Markle, and then 2 other unidentified children. But I don't believe that's true. I believe it really is Bryn Gringus with her child Gavin. Gavin Gringus is the 2-year-old son of Bryn Gringus, a journalist who is actually pretty close with Meghan. And then pretty soon after that interview with Oprah, with a very short fragment of Archofficial on the beach, a rumor started floating around that the child was really Gavin. There's a picture that's supposedly of the Queen and Prince Philip admiring Archie, but there's a big problem with it. It's clearly another photoshopped photo. The original image of the late Queen and Prince Philip was actually taken at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, and they were looking at a new foal. It has been photoshopped into looking like a picture of Meghan and Harry and Doria. And what's up with the fact that Harry and Meghan are wearing the exact same outfits they wore for Archofficial's christening? I mean, Meghan Markle never wears anything more than once, and the sofa is the same one too. But Archofficial was actually christened at Windsor, and Lilibet was supposedly christened in California. Why does every single photo for Invisibet's christening show a different Archofficial? And why does Lilibet have such a strange, unnatural, fixed stare? If you look closely, you'll see her eyes never move, and she's always looking at exactly the same point. It's true that kids' eyes do move around as they try to track movement. Now, in the first couple of photos of Invisibet's christening, her left hand looks like a foot with a big toe. It's bizarre. It's very uncanny, actually. And supposedly, she was christened when she was 18 months old, so either she is suffering from a severe case of dwarfism or somebody is telling a big fat lie. Lastly, why was the church setting there when she supposedly was christened at home? And at her christening, that child looks a lot older than the one in the other christening photos. Now, a child of the age that Invisibet appears to be in the first 3 photos is either a child who is hardly old enough to sit up on their own, or in fact is a doll. If they really do have kids, if the kids are real, why are all the photos showing different kids every single time? Sometimes they have red hair, sometimes they're a bit darker. There's just so much photoshopping, we can't believe any of it. So with all these rented kids and photoshopping, I think it's safe to say that neither child exists. If they did, we wouldn't see pictures of Meghan Markle's friends' kids, and they wouldn't need to Photoshop all the photos, and we wouldn't have these photos taken of archofficials back either. And there wouldn't be any need for all the lies about Invisible meeting the royal family and the birthday party that supposedly took place while the gruesome twosome were on their way back to California. And let's remember, they said the children were there with them, but they weren't. And the proof that the kids were not even there with them was that weekend. There was a flight manifest, and no children came. And I understand it was a private jet, but anyway, it doesn't matter. The flight manifest is supposed to list all occupants for both private and commercial flights. And I know the squatties try to claim the two of them are entitled to keep their kids private if they want to. Well, yeah, that's true. I agree with that. But if that's the case, why do they keep on publishing these photos of them that are not really even of them? If they're real, we would see the same kids in every single photo, even after a few months. Kids simply don't change that drastically in appearance. And let's think about the Wales family. Throughout their childhood, we have seen regular photos of the Wales kids, like when they started school, for their birthdays, for Christmas. 3 to 4 times a year, it's enough. And we see the little changes that are there. They've all grown a little bit more. They maybe lost some teeth. These photos are natural. They don't need to Photoshop. There's also the fact that Stassi Schroeder admitted on Instagram to lending her daughter to Meghan so that she could use her to play Lilibet. More bizarre still, though, is that the royal family, I think, has known what's going on. They knew the moment those photos were released. It just gets stranger and stranger by the day. What needs to happen, though, is those two need to be exposed for what they really are, and also the people who have helped them along the way. I just don't understand why they went to such lengths to create this whole debacle. I'm sure when the lying is exposed, it's not going to be their fault, of course. They'll be blaming somebody. I mean, are they worried about what may have happened if they had come out with the truth? I mean, did Meghan Markle promise to tell the world the truth the next day, but the next day never came? Did she threaten to off herself if the truth comes out? Some very important mistakes have clearly been made. Now, as far as the royal family's role in all of this, I suspect they had to allow the charade to continue, because if they exposed the truth, then Meghan Markle would have accused them again of being racist, being anti-American, being anti-actress, whatever, anything else she could think of to try to make them look bad. I think the late queen should have been brave enough to face the two of them down, but at the time when Archofficial was born, Prince Philip was on his deathbed, and I think he was the one who dealt with those sorts of problems. He handled, after all, the problem of Diana and the divorce with Charles. And I believe all of this started because Meghan was so incredibly jealous of Catherine. Catherine was eating up all the attention that Meghan wanted for herself, especially with her 3 beautiful children. So one way to get attention on oneself is to pretend to be pregnant and pretend to have kids. And Meghan Markle does love tricking people. She tells herself that she's so much smarter than everybody else because of the scams that she gets away with. But it's not going to be long before the truth comes out and Meghan Markle is exposed for this blatant lie. Just like all the other lies she has told, like that the royal family was racist and they hated her from the start. Now, Archofficial is supposed to be starting school this fall. How is that going to work? I remember a few years ago, Meghan even said that she was going to be homeschooling her children because she didn't want them in those dangerous schools. She didn't want to have to worry about photographers showing up, I guess. And more recently, she said it was because she didn't want them to be made fun of for being royals. Everybody is curious, though. How on earth is that idiot going to homeschool? She spends a lot more time using private jets to travel around the world than she spends at home, and she never takes the kids with her. Alright, so next bit of news, an opinion on Oprah Winfrey's interview with Harry and Meghan. So what was the biggest shortcoming from that interview? Well, Oprah's interview with Meghan and Harry was in a comfortable setting. They were sitting on some nice, laid-back sofas, using some quiet, soft voices that all seemed very pleasant, didn't it? Just a couple of women exchanging some calm, gentle words. Or was it? Oprah didn't really pry. She didn't even question what Meghan Markle was saying. In other words, she didn't do her job. And now it's obvious that she was an accomplice. She was working with Meghan Markle to tell all those nasty lies about the royals. She didn't even try to act like she was unbiased. I mean, obviously, she is a racist in her own right. Because if she had used due diligence and didn't allow these unsubstantiated statements to be made, it would have been a really dull interview. Oh, no. She wasn't going to have that. She had to make the front page with these accusations of racism and had to portray the royal family in the worst light imaginable. Oprah claims that she believes in the power of women, but it seems like she really let herself down too. People used to respect her, but after that interview, no, absolutely not. We can't believe anything that she puts out in the future. Either she's racist, or she's stupid, or she's just gullible. None of those are good options. And as for Meghan Markle, honestly, I kind of blame Oprah more in this whole debacle because I think Meghan just can't help herself. She is so screwed up. She has lost the plot a long time ago, and that's partially because people like Harry and Oprah and Netflix and others become her means to spread her kind of toxicity. And the royal family discovered that for themselves, unfortunately. But I would say the people who enable Meghan are the real problem here. Meghan Markle needs some serious kind of psychiatric help. Now, if what Piers Morgan says is true, lie after lie reached 17 lies. Meghan Markle is seriously disturbed. She's a pathological liar, and King Charles cannot put up with this kind of behavior. And now his son has turned into the same type, and he can't be trusted. And yes, King Charles has absolutely been damaged by Meghan Markle, who was helped by Harry, who has not yet matured enough to understand that you don't need to act like that. I suspect that King Charles is a wise old king, and he has left the door partially open if Harry eventually wakes up to reality. Growing up isn't easy, Harry. In some ways, though, I think Meghan is not even the worst problem here. I mean, she's a lost cause. It's all the other grown-up people who were supposed to be logical, who didn't tell her no. But it looks like the tables are turning. Even Oprah has come to realize that she made a colossal mistake. And the royal family has washed their hands clean of this selfish, self-serving, insane woman. And they just wish normality to return. There are so many other people who had to do the same. The man who played Meghan Markle's father on Suits, Wendell Pierce, he told of his warning to Meghan as she left the show that she would find herself in a bubble. Well, she should have paid attention, because it seems like what he was predicting is one day that bubble will burst, and it looks like that day is coming. Alright folks, that is the main content of today's news, and how do you feel about this content? If you agree or disagree, please let me know either way. And don't forget to support us with a like, share, and subscription to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you again soon.